Good morning, boys and girls. Welcome back. And we're going to continue to talk about the Lord's Prayer this morning. Now, I hope your brain is turned on because here's the first challenge. I want to see if you and your family members can memorize the Lord's Prayer up to the fourth line. So I'm going to give you about 30 seconds or so. Turn to each other and see if you can do the Lord's Prayer up to the fourth line without looking at the Bible. Go. That was great. Well, today we're going to be thinking about the next line in the Lord's Prayer. And it says, "Forgive us our debts, as we have also forgiven our debtors." What's a debt? Most people will say it's about money. And it's when you borrow money from another person, you owe them a debt until you can pay them back. But it doesn't always have to be money. It could be toys, pencils, stationaries, or even things that you can lend to another person or borrow from another person. So debt could technically mean anything that needs to be paid back, anything that's due from act of borrowing. So Jesus is teaching us about debt. Why? I don't owe God anything. I don't owe him money. I didn't borrow a pencil from him, or I didn't ask him for a shirt and didn't return it back to him. But you have to realize that every time we sin, we actually owe something to God. And sin is when we turn away from God's love. Every time we say, think, or do something that goes against God's plan and his love for us, we owe it to God because we don't love him back the way that he's loved us. So sin can be a kind of a debt. Here's the last question I'm going to get you to go and share with your family. There are so many moments in a day where we might just have gotten angry, said something mean, or was just being plain selfish. We all have hurt other people and ourselves before. And just think, every time we do that, we're actually piling up a huge amount of debt before God. Now, in this line of prayer, Jesus is saying that we can come to the Father and ask him to forgive our big pile of debts before him. God has chosen to forgive us because of what Jesus has done. Now, of course, we can't take God's forgiveness for granted and just say, well, you know what? I'm just going to go sin anyway. And all I have to do is say sorry and God will forgive me. It's not that simple. You see, this line of prayer is talking about the big problem of sin. Not just your sin, my sin, but the whole world has piles and piles of debts. And there is none of us here that we could ever resolve this big pile of debt. But yet, when we were still sinning, God chose to love us. And he chose to send Jesus for us and in our place. He died to set us free from all those debts, from all those sin and hurts. I think it just helps us to think about what it means to really forgive. You know, next time when your sibling ate all of your favorite chips, or your classmate laughed at you in front of everybody else in the class, or when you've hurt someone with your words, think about Jesus and think about this prayer. Think about what God has done for us. Jesus has taught us, ask the Father, forgive us our debts as we have forgiven our debtors. We can forgive because we've been forgiven. I encourage you to make this prayer every day. In some of the hurtful things that you might go through, ask God to forgive you and help you to forgive others. That's this week on the Lord's Prayer, and I'll see you in the next one.